The sacred is revealed in the ordinary. There is a beauty in this. But how do we discover the mystery of the sacred in our seemingly mundane existence? Welcome to Revealed, a podcast sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's join our hosts, Katie McAllister and Tony Pickler, as they explore the lives of people, organizations, and resources that will help us delve into the sacredness of the ordinary.
Welcome to Revealed. I'm Katie.
And I'm Tony.
And we have a special guest in our broadcast studio. Is it a broadcast studio? I don't know. What are we? Recording studio. Yeah, in our recording studio that we are so honored that she is here to visit us. So, Tony, why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, thanks, Katie. I have known our guest today for quite a few years. I first met her down at St. John's Homeless Shelter in downtown Green Bay. And then since it was a part of a retreat that she was on, and I've seen her in other walks of life and areas of our community. Our guest is Heather Nagel. And so as I've said, I've known Heather for many years and have seen her in various capacities. So, Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Thanks.
So can you just introduce yourself? Who is Heather? Who are you?
Yes, I'm Heather Nagel. I have one brother. We're both adopted, so very nice. My parents live in Angelica. I have 7 kids, grown kids. I have 7 grandkids. Just very outgoing. I don't know, love volunteering, love spending time helping others out. So, yeah.
Cool.
Did you grow up in Angelica then, or in Green Bay, or where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Mequon.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was very lucky. I grew up in Mequon.
And what brought you to Green Bay?
Basically because in 96, my grandparents were elderly and they fell ill. So my parents sold their house in Mequon and they ended up moving to Angelica. And then from there, I just, after my grandma passed away, I decided to come down here to Green Bay like in 99. And just be closer to my parents, because now they're getting up in age. And if something happens, at least I'm here. My brother lives in Minnesota, so it'd be kind of hard for him to commute. So, yeah.
So I know I met you at St. John's Homeless Shelter, and I know now you're currently staying at Wellspring, the women's shelter here in town. How did you first fall into homelessness? How did you first become homeless?
Okay, well, I was with a man for like 12 years, and he was quite violent. And the last year that I was with him, I just realized, it wasn't love, and I knew just me loving him wasn't going to change him. So I was like, God, I can't live like this anymore. Just please give me strength that I can get out of this situation. I tried to get into Golden House. There was a waiting list. So then somebody told me about St. John's. And I've been there ever since. And because I don't have good credit and I don't have bad credit, a lot of people don't want to rent to me. And then the fact that I lived with him for 12 years, no rental history. So I'm kind of like stuck. But it's okay because it's only temporary. And if I get a couple jobs, I'll be back on my feet.
So what's a day in the life? Like, what do you do daily?
Well, I like to go to St. Willibrad's. Only because I find sanctuary there, and just peacefulness. It hasn't really been like that lately, so I no longer go there, and I go to the library. If I need anything, because I've been filling out applications like crazy, and if I need any information, it's right there at the library. Or if I have any questions, I can always ask the librarians. And other times, I spend time with Chris from St. Vincent de Paul, and whenever she has activities, I always tell her I want to volunteer, to help out. I think it's good to give back, and I don't know, kind of with my situation being homeless, it makes me feel better. Like I'm just not wasting my time. I'm utilizing it the right way, and that's what I want to do. So
that's beautiful. I love that.
Kind of walk me through your schedule of the day, though. So at Wellspring, you must have to leave at a certain time, and then you can report back in. And so what times are those, and then what do you do in between those times?
Okay, well, usually we have to be up at least by like 8 o'clock, and we have to be out the doors by 8:30, and then from there, I usually I help Tanya in the morning because she's on oxygen. She doesn't always have help. So I'll help her go wherever she needs to go, and then I usually head off to the library, and I just stay there all day. And unless I have like interviews going on. So like tomorrow I'll have an interview. Monday I have an interview, and then that's basically all I do. I stay there because I don't want to be associated with a lot of things. There's a lot of things that people don't see, and I don't want to be associated with the bad things. You know, it's so true with like my dad told me when I was little, you know, anything you do in life, it matters. So if something goes on your record, it's like stuck with you. So I've never been to jail. I've never been in trouble. I don't steal. I don't break the law. You know, I don't want trouble. Mm-hmm. So I've always lived like that, you know.
And there's a lot of trouble to get into, you know, downtown.
Exactly. And especially hanging with like the wrong crowd. Nothing against people or anything, but, you know, a lot of people have really bad issues. And I'm just grateful that, you know, God is always guiding me. No matter what, my faith is very strong. So I'm grateful for that, you know.
You can report back into Wellspring at 5, correct? And
yes.
An evening meal then.
Yes.
What about lunchtime? Where do you catch lunch?
Lunchtime, usually, sometimes they feed us at the Micah or at Wellsprings. I really don't hang out at Wellsprings, though. But, yeah, otherwise food stamps. If you get food stamps, you can get some lunch, and then you can eat at the library. They're okay with that as long as you clean up your mess. You know, you just pick up after yourself. So that's what I usually do. Otherwise, there's also like Salvation Army. If you need a bus pass on, you know, and then New Community too isn't so bad. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of resources in Green Bay to help you out.
Yeah.
So what would you say is one of your biggest challenges of not having a permanent place to be?
My biggest challenge would probably be the fact that, like, when Sundays come, it's very hard to be outside when it's cold out. Like, a lot of the women don't have, like, snow pants or snow boots, you know. And so I'd say Sundays are hard. And where there's no place to go, it's awkward. You know,
and there's no place to go because places are closed on Sunday.
Yes, right? Yes. The library used to be open. I don't know what happened that they're not open anymore, but yeah.
Probably funding, you know, not enough money.
Yeah. So I'll go to Spring Lake on Sunday. Sometimes I go with Bill to his church. Him and his wife, they'll invite me. But I'll go to Spring Lake, and I'll go to both their sessions because they have 2 of them. And then we usually leave by noon, and then I'll just head back to Wellsprings and wait till 5 o'clock till it opens. Otherwise, yeah.
So you've been a resident or a guest at St. John's, and I think you've been a guest at New Community in the past, right?
Yeah.
And now you're at Wellspring. What's the biggest challenge of living in a community like that, where you've got a lot of different people who sometimes are dealing with a lot of different things?
Oh, yes.
So what's the biggest challenge in all of that?
I don't so much see it as a challenge. And what I've learned, because it's been quite a few years that I've been homeless, is to be able to tolerate and have patience with others. Because I didn't always have patience. Like, I would automatically snap, but it's more about, like, respecting everybody around you and realizing that people are different, you know, and I accept that. And I'm not going to judge them, you know, but I know, you know, I don't know how else to put it except for I keep my mouth shut, you know, and what I've been, like, doing is I just give it to God, is what I usually say. God, I'm going to give it to you. you know, and it just, I don't know, somehow it makes me feel better. It releases whatever, you know, so I feel a lot better.
I love how I just love how you're yeah.
But it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always.
No. And isn't that our journey?
It's part of growing, yes, as a person spiritually.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like I said, God has been very good, and I'm so grateful, you know, because without Him and His guidance, honestly, I don't know how I would be right now or where I would be. But I just feel so much like love inside and just, I don't know, spiritually with the way that I feel, you know, I feel like really close to God, like.
And that's beautiful because,
yeah.
I mean, you could be angry, you could be mad.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that, but I'm not. Like, I just, life is too short, you know. Be grateful for little things. Be grateful for what you have, you know. That's what counts. It's not about materialistic things, nothing like that. It's just be grateful, you know, to be alive, you know.
It seems like the homeless community downtown, and as you've described it, helping somebody each morning that's on oxygen, it seems like you kind of form a community. And not everybody, you know, like we've already said, there's some bad apples out there, right? But but there seems like there's a community of people that rely on each other. Would you say that to be true?
Oh, yes. I agree with that, yes. We do. We do support one another, you know, in the sense that, you know, if somebody's having a bad day or anything, we always, you know, build them up because I think that's important, you know. We may be homeless, but we're still humans, you know, human beings, so,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You laugh, you cry, and you have all the same, yeah.
And I never take anything for granted, never. And every night before I go to bed, I always pray. When I wake up, I pray. I let God know, thank you for another day. I'm very grateful. You know, I might be in a situation, but no matter what, you know, I know that, you know, He's guiding me through this and that I will get out of this. This will be my last year. This will be my last year. I'm promising you that.
I love that. Yeah.
I will make it happen.
One of the things I've always wondered is, this year's been fairly mild, right? It's been in the 30s quite a bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes winters in Green Bay can be harsh.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just curious, like, how do you, both physically and mentally, how do you handle that? I mean, that when it's, you know, 10 below zero, 5 below zero, how does that
Or even on the flip side, when it's, you know, 90 and degrees outside.
I love the heat.
Oh, okay.
I can deal with the heat. It's the cold I don't like. Because I notice the older you get, at least for myself, I notice I can feel it in my bones. Like it goes down to my bones, and I don't like that. I do not like the cold. But I've lived here my whole life that, you know, I've been in Wisconsin. I can't see leaving it, you know. My family's here. My friends are here. You know, I don't know. You can't make that change, I guess. You know.
You just do the best you can with it.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm a huge introvert. Like, it's really hard to start a conversation with somebody. So if I saw you at the library, you know, do you want to be left alone? Do you want to have people talking to you? How do you feel is the best to kind of engage with people at the library?
I don't have a problem talking with people. I know some people do. They prefer not to, but I don't mind when people approach me. When they had the gala, for example, I guess on their itinerary, when people were going in, they gave them a piece of paper. I guess my picture was on there. So the one day I happened to be at St. Wilbrad's, and I didn't know when the gala was. I didn't even know it had already happened. People were coming up to me, and I didn't understand why, because I was just sitting there. You know, I was warming up.
But the St. John's Gala, right?
Yeah. So then Father Andy comes up to me. He goes, "Oh, there's our famous lady." I'm like, "Okay, what are we talking about?" And then he told me what had happened. I'm like, "Oh, that explains it." I'm like, "It's all good." But yeah, the majority of people don't mind being approached. You know, they like it. People like to be acknowledged. You know, It's okay, though, but I don't have a problem with talking with people.
So what would be a good lead-off question for me? And this is just in general, because I don't know how to talk to people. What would be a good question? And this is both of you. What would be a good question to talk to people about?
Just asking, how their day is going. Simple little questions, Or, I get a lot. I'll have, people approach me and tell me they like my hat, like the librarian caught me off guard. And, because sometimes, I don't know, but she caught me off guard. And when she said that, I was like, I kind of looked at her like, okay, I didn't expect that. And I just told her, I'm like, well, thank you. I'm like, I really appreciate that, So, yeah.
A number of years ago, we made a video at St. John's Homeless Shelter, and I can't for the life of me remember what we called it, but it involved, and it was true life situations here, where they gave the guests at St. John's pieces of cardboard and asked them to take a marker and put on the piece of cardboard a word or a phrase that was offensive to them, that they had been called as a homeless person or a person who was experiencing homelessness. And some of those words are really awful.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's some words or some comments that have been made to you as a person who has experienced homelessness now for a few years that for you have been really hurtful.
Yeah, if anything, I try not to listen to what people say, but I do get offended because we are automatically assumed that we are all bad. And that is not the case. It really isn't. Just being judged by people, that gets under my skin so badly because I believe that God can only judge. People are not to judge. But no matter what, in our society today, it's realistic. They do, and it's just something that they either grew up with or it's just passed down, whatever, so it's nothing you can stop people from doing. But if anything, that's what bothers me the most. I try to go out of my way just so people see that we're not all like that, whether it's opening a door for somebody or, just saying a few kind words or things like that. Because when I'm at St. Wilbrod's, I remember our one friend, Tom, who passed away, he used to go there all the time. He would open the door for all the elderly. I am I don't know. I was very close to my grandparents, so I'm all about grandparents. I love them dearly. So I will go out of my way and I will make sure I open that door for somebody. Even if they're not elderly, if they have a bunch of stuff or a stroller, anything. I will automatically open that door.
So to kind of flip that around, if there was one thing that you would want people listening to this to know about you as a person who has experienced homelessness, what's that one thing you'd want to make sure they knew about you?
Oh, boy. I don't know. I can't answer that one.
Well, I probably can answer that for you. I don't know, but not to speak for you. But when I, just over the year that I've known you, you elude empathy and caring, and you got such a great heart.
Thank you.
You have this beautiful heart that I think
my grandma made me that way. That's why.
Yeah.
When I was growing up in high school, normally kids want to spend time with their friends in the summertime. Well, my grandparents were already elderly. All I wanted to do was spend time with my grandma. Learn as much as I could from her. Her and her sisters. And I'd always have so much fun. So, yeah. I don't know. Very old school.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with old school.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, Heather, our podcast is called Revealed, and it's all about seeing the sacred or the holy or God in your ordinary life. So, where do you see God in your life?
I see him every day. I feel his love around me and just the growth that I've done, He's just in my heart at all times. And I'm just very grateful. I'm very grateful.
Well, you said you pray every day.
Oh,
so
yes.
that's-
Praying is very important to me.
Mhm.
I have prayers all around my bed. I have, like, little trinkets that I keep, like, on me. I don't know. But, yeah, God's been very good to me.
So, I have a question that just came to me. So, how can the greater Green Bay community support homelessness better? Like, how can we support you better?
I don't know about that one. Like, don't automatically assume that we're all bad, you know? And just saying hi is okay. It's not like, you know, how can I put this? You know, some people, they ask for things constantly. I am not one of those. I will never do that. Even with me staying at shelter, I try not to ask anything because I feel better about myself if I do it myself, because that's the way it's supposed to be. You shouldn't have to rely on other people. The only way things happen is like if you make it happen. So I honestly try to live like that. You know, I don't want a handout, but just being acknowledged or somebody saying hi or saying a few kind words, that means a lot to me. That's what gets to me. Those are things that will stand out in my mind and will be a memory forever. It's little things like that, you know. So.
Well, Heather, we thank you so much for being a guest on Revealed and helping us to understand a little bit more about the people in our community who struggle with homelessness and some of the stereotypes that we have of people in those situations, and how we can better be in relationship to you and to your brothers and sisters who are also on the streets and in shelters. So thanks for being a guest on Revealed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed this.
We thank you for joining us. I'm Katie.
And I'm Tony.
And until next time,
keep finding the sacred in the ordinary.
This has been Revealed, a podcast sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish in Green Bay, Wisconsin.